If the gorgeous beaches will bring out the wanderlust in you, then the churches will touch you with their sacred aura. Yes, I'm talking about Goa. The famous church in Goa is a wondrous heritage which the Portuguese rulers have left behind for us to admire. They are grand in design, superlative in architecture, and paramount in religion. These churches are not just a religious place of worship for Christmas, but architectural marvels in their own right. Some of them have even been found a place in the UNESCO Heritage Sites of Goa. The list of churches in Goa contains some sparkling gems, both for devotees and for history buffs. There are 21 exciting, famous churches in Goa to visit. Let's see how beautiful each one of them are. Please stay tuned until the end of this video to know the stories behind each of these churches. Basilica of Bom Jesus, by far the most famous church in Goa. Basilica of Bom Jesus is a marvel of Baroque architecture. This 16th century church is a UNESCO Heritage Site and contains the mottled remains of Saint Francis Xavier, the famous Jesuit saint. The church is dedicated to Infant Jesus and has several paintings, marble gilded altars, marble flooring inlaid with precious stones. This is located in Benguinium, Goa, and this was built in 1605. This is Church of Our Lady of Immaculate Conception, situated in Panaji. This church is amongst the oldest church in Goa. It has an elegant outer structure with a double flight of symmetrical stairs, a fine example of Baroque architecture. This church also has the second largest bell in Goa. Thousands gather here on the day of the feast that falls on 8th December, when the whole church is decorated with colorful lights and large fairs are held to celebrate the occasion. This is located at Panaji, Goa, and this was built in 1609. The third church, Se Cathedral. Se Cathedral is among the largest of all churches in Goa and also the most beautiful. It has a magnificent architecture and has great religious importance. The church was built to glorify the Portuguese rule over India. The church is dedicated to Saint Catherine and has the great golden bell. The church has received the golden rose from the Pope as a mark of reverence. This is located at Velha, Goa, and this was built in 1640. Fourth one, Church of Our Lady of the Mount. The Portuguese general Afonso de Albuquerque ordered the construction of this church in the year 1510. It was among the oldest chapels in Goa and is popular for its Monte Music Festival, a 4-day celebration of Indian and Western music performances by reputed and upcoming musicians. The church is built on a hill and gives stunning views of Mandovi River and Divar Island located nearby. This is located in Ella, Goa, and this was built in 1510. The fifth church, Church of Saint Cajetan. Another famous church of North Goa is the Church of Saint Catherine. Very close to Se Cathedral, this church is the most beautiful monument said to be modeled in the lines of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City. The church is an impressive remnant of the Portuguese reign over Goa. Its magnificent Corinthian architecture and impressive Baroque interiors have made this among the most visited churches in Goa. This is also located at Vela, Goa, and this was built in 1661. Sixth church, Diogos Church. This church is among the best churches to see in North Goa. It has a breathtaking Gothic architecture and has ornate interiors. Its magnificent structure with numerous spires, gilded altars, and ornate interiors remind us of a medieval castle, and its white exterior dazzles in daylight. In the evenings, though, the church is illuminated with lighting, making it a marvelous sight to behold. This is located at Saligao, Goa, and this church was built in 1873. Seventh, Church of Saint Francis of Assisi. The unique blend of Tuscan, Baroque, and Corinthian architecture is what makes this church unique in structure and also one of the most famous churches in Goa. Its artistically gilded altars with inlay of precious stones and ornate interiors make it among the most spectacular churches. Another unique thing about this church is that it has its own museum displaying paintings, sculptures, and artifacts. This is located off National Highway 4, again at Vela, Goa, and this church was built in 1661. Eighth, Saint Diogos Church. Among the most magnificent of churches in North Goa, St. Diogos Church is built in Roman-style architecture. The church has 3 bells and 3 entrances. The annual fest held in the church is a festive occasion which is enjoyed with great religious fervor. This is located in Guirim, Goa, and was built in the year 1604. Ninth, Santa Cruz Church, also called as Holy Cross Church. This church is a spectacular example of the Neo-Roman architectural style. It was built on the recommendation of the King of Portugal to encourage people to accept Christianity. This is located at Santa Cruz, Goa, and this church was built in the year 1547. 10th, Chapel of Saint Catherine. Although not as spectacular as the other churches in Goa, this church has a huge historical significance. This elegant church was built by the Portuguese general Afonso de Albuquerque to celebrate the victorious march into the city. Even today, this fact is quite evident from the inscribed stone, which tells that this is the exact spot where the Portuguese general set foot. The chapel is simple in architecture and has graceful interiors. This is also located in North Goa and was built in the year 1510. 11th Church, Church of the Cross of Miracles. The church is another historical monument in North Goa. It is famous for its miraculous cross, which is said to have supernatural healing properties. It is a church with a history of its own. It is visited by people of all religions on the day of the feast, when thousands of devotees throng the church to seek the blessings of the Holy Mother. This is located in Guirim, Goa, and This church was built in the year 1619. 12th, Nossa Senhora de Penha de Franca. Situated at the confluence of Mandovi and Mapusa rivers, this church is a scenic beauty and a visual treat. The magnificent architecture, stained glass windows, high vaulted ceiling makes it among the most beautiful churches in North Goa. The church is named after a Spanish saint, Saint Nossa Senhora de Penha de Franca, who is believed to have saved Portuguese from a dangerous situation on their voyage to India. This is located at Bardes, and this church was built in the year 1626. 13th, St. Claras Church. Located in the midst of lush greenery, this church is a scenic attraction in North Goa. Its white exteriors and beautiful architecture makes a surreal sight when visited in the daytime. The church was attacked several times and destroyed by the Marathas, but each time it was rebuilt anew. The church is known for its healing sessions, which is attended by huge crowds, located at Asonora, Goa, and this church was built in the year 1768. 14th, Chapel of Saint Sebastian. This chapel is dedicated to Saint Sebastian, who once healed many people of diseases and plagues. Even now, the chapel's crucifix is believed to be magical and punish wrongdoers and troublemakers and bring justice to good people. This is located at Panaji, Goa. This church was built in the year 1818. 15th, St. Elizabeth's Church. This church in North Goa has a striking Mannerist architectural style with impressive Rococo features. It was constructed by the Franciscan friars in 1618. Though a storm destroyed it in 1708, it was rebuilt on a much larger scale. This elegant church has a magnificent statue of Jesus Christ on the front of the church. This is located at Ocasian, Goa, and this church was built in the year 1618. 16th, Church of Lady of Rosary. This church is the oldest church in North Goa and has an immense historical significance. This church, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is believed to be built by Afonso de Albuquerque as a gratitude for his victory over armies of the Deccan Sultanate of Bijapur. It is also that Saint Francis Xavier gave his first sermon when he arrived in Goa. The church looks more like a fortress with its rounded towers and early Portuguese architecture. This church is located in Bainguinim, Goa, and was built in the year 1510. 17th, Church of Saint Anne. This church is a marvelous monument in the north of Goa. It is a unique specimen of Indian Baroque architectural style and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site located on the banks of Siridal River. This church has a whitewashed exterior and its interiors have a cylindrical roof. This is located in a place in Goa called Talaulim, and this church was built in the year 1695. 18th, St. Alex Church. This massive church is a unique architectural style. The church, dome, and its towers are the special attractions of this church. The interiors and the gilded altars are ornate in design and marvelous to look. It is one of the oldest churches in Goa. And this is located in Kurtorim, Goa, and was built in the year 1741. 19th, St. Andrew's Church. Among the most famous churches in South Goa, St. Andrew's Church will impress you with its elegant neo-Gothic architecture, situated in the historical town of Vasco da Gama. This church is named after St. Andrew, the patron saint of fishermen. The church runs a school on its premises. This is located in Vasco da Gama, Goa, and this church was built in the year 1570. 20. Three Kings Chapel. This church is among the most famous churches in South Goa. Located on a hill, this church gives spectacular scenic views of the coastline and the lush greenery. You are also treated to view stunning views of sunrise and sunset. The chapel has a most interesting history behind it. Many believe it is haunted by the ghost of three kings who once ruled this land. It's also a favorite location for Bollywood films. This is located in Kansaulim, Goa, and this church was built in the year 1721. 21. St. John the Baptist Church. This church, among the most beautiful sites in North Goa, has a typical Goan architecture. Situated on top of a hill, this church has charming altar and galleries with lovely designs. The feast in this church is a very energetic event when there are many festivities and a lot of fun and enjoyment. This is located at Benaulim, Goa, and this church was built in the year 1956. For a complete Goa trip, a trip to these churches is worthy of your time. The rich culture and history of Goa are on full display at these famous churches. If you have visited them, do write your comments in the below section. When you visit Goa next, don't miss out on these churches, and don't forget to contact us for staying at HimNi serviced apartments, villas and hotels. If you missed out on our video on HimNi serviced apartments in Goa, please watch the videos under Goa series in the playlist. Please subscribe our channel if you have not yet done so, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Our next video under Goa series will be on Goa casinos. Thank you for watching this video and have a wonderful day ahead.